You are listening to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your host for today is B. Allen Bourgeois.
And welcome to Dear Texas Radio. As you know, we always encourage you to drop everything and read. And we want you to always find a great book by a Texas author, preferably. There's over 8,400 published Texas authors that contribute to close to $1 billion to the Texas economy, but they still need your support. So through the course of Dear Texas Radio Show, we always try to find new authors to interview, but today we're doing a special edition. It is about the Authors Marketing event coming up July 28th through the 30th for authors, so they can help learn how to better market and sell themselves. And today I have with me Kathy Meis. Is that pronounced correctly, Meis?
Mice, just like the creatures.
Mice. Okay. Well, welcome, Kathy.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this great event that you're putting together. I'm excited to come to Texas to speak.
Well, we're glad you're coming. And I'm going to real quickly just tell people who you are. You have created a business called Publish. You're the founder and the CEO, and Publish is designed to help authors get the word out about their books. We'll touch a little bit more about that, but in the process of creating Publish, you have a background that I find very critical for authors. And so one of the things we're going to be talking about is your session, Why Your Author Brand Matters. And I want to ask the first question is, what does brand for an author actually mean?
So at the simplest level and the heart of it is your author brand is the promise that you make to your readers. So the type of reading experience that you plan to deliver, the kind of book product you deliver to those readers, and, you know, the kind of experience really, it has broadened. The kind of experience you're willing to provide around your content is also part of your author brand and your promise to readers. So at its essence, that's really what it's all about, your promise that you make to them.
So for somebody like me who has 7 books that have close to 15 different genre listings, they're all over the place from children to very adults, finding a brand is more of a challenge for me, but for the general author who maybe is a romance author or a historical fiction author, they can fine-tune and create a brand that fits them. Is that about right?
Yeah, but even, you know, we work with authors, a lot of authors write in multiple genres. I do think for new authors, I advise them to try to tackle one genre at a time, build an audience, and then extend over. But, you know, a lot of people do write in multiple genres. We see that all the time. But, you know, if you were to go through some brand exercises with me, I would start to try to boil it down to the essence of, you know, what is it unique about your writing style, no matter what genre you do? Are you, you know, really character driven, or is it the plot that, you know, you're just a whiz at great plots? Is there a why that's part of why you write in so many genres, a passion? So, you know, there's a lot in the why and the story of why you write in so many genres that I would take you through exercises to try to boil it down to the essence of, even across those genres, there's some type of reading experience, some promise that you're making that's unique to you. And that's, you know, really the difficult work of finding your author brand. But it's so crucial today to really understand that, so you can share your brand message clearly. Even if you adapt it to different genres, you can share it clearly in a nutshell. And that's, you know, part of the hard work of understanding your own brand.
So if I understand correctly, once an author figures out what their brand is, it can then help them understand how to better market and sell themselves. Is that right?
Yeah, and so also, you know, when you make a promise to readers, you really want to understand that audience. So what kind of content would they be interested in, and understanding what type of promise would be interesting to a particular readership is really very key. And, I know we're going to talk about the other talk that I'm giving at Authors Marketing, which is around book positioning. And that research becomes very closely tied to your ability to build a unique brand that is going to pop in a very, very crowded book marketplace.
And it is very crowded because I think your stats are currently showing that there's about 5,000 books being uploaded to Amazon a month, and there's close to 1 million authors in the United States alone. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I would say more than 1 million working authors now by far. It's also a global marketplace because so many books are, purchased online, so you're competing with authors and titles from all over the world. But, the latest estimates that we've heard are, 3,000 to 5,000 books being uploaded on a daily basis to Amazon. I mean, there's never been more opportunities for authors, especially self-published authors, than there is today, but there's never been more competition. We're talking about the most abundant media marketplace, so you're competing against books and other media everywhere, on-demand video, music, podcasts, everything. A lot of people are audiobooks. So there's just so much content out there in so many formats, and it's just a touch away that you really have to nail down what it is that you're trying to express to the world about who you are and why you're worth listening to. Why is your content different? Why is it important? And there's 1,000 different pieces that go into expressing that. One of the things we talk about is even the metadata, the data that you input when you upload your books to the major online retailers has to be aligned with your brand, because computers are interpreting your brand message all the time. So it's a lot to learn, but it's really foundational to your success, because if you do understand your author brand, your promise to readers, and what those readers are looking for, you're going to set yourself up to really take advantage of all the marketing tools that are out there now to get people to that product page and purchase that book. But you basically have 7 seconds when they get there to capture their attention and let them know they're in the right place and you're going to deliver something excellent that they're going to love. And 7 seconds isn't a lot of time. So every tiny piece of your author brand needs to be expressed clearly and uniquely so that it jumps out and they say, wow, this looks exactly like something I'd love to dive into.
And you just mentioned something that I want to real quickly touch upon. There are so many different ways to reach out to the readers out there. Of course, you have Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, those websites, but then you also have your own website, your own blog, and then there's other organizations you can belong to. And if I understand correctly, once you find your brand, you want that brand, if I heard you correctly, to be exactly the same on every single layer that's out there. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So, there's a lot of opportunities because we've become, first of all, very distracted, but also very visual because there's so much content, right, on the web and online speaking to us that we've become extremely visual. So we do a lot of work with our authors at Publish on visual branding, and all those things have to marry up. So if I'm on social and I come across one of your titles and I'm exploring some content of yours, and then I bop over to, say, some other online retailer, and I see your name, and I see those colors again, boom, that's like 1 point of reinforcement that your brand is associated with those colors. A lot of times, for example, when we're working with an author on their first cover, first of all, they haven't thought out, well, is the book going to be a series or whatever, which is, a great brand opportunity to build a series where all the visuals across all the covers are the same and reinforce that. But they really haven't thought about brand colors or fonts or all of these visual elements that you can take over to your website and over to your social profile to kind of just ping in a second. Someone says, oh, I've seen that author before. Oh, that's the author that wrote such and such, or, oh, I saw that author's blog or book reviewed. And we learn a lot visually very quickly. So again, when you're talking about nanoseconds to, convey a message, then your visuals, having those aligned, they don't have to be exactly the same, but having them aligned so the fonts and the colors are all similar, as well as taglines and messaging, it really helps to reinforce, because really the web is like a giant neural network, and we all know when our brain creates a pathway to understand something, it's because of a reiteration of those facts. And the same thing is true when you're trying to get your brand message across and get people to understand what you write about, why you write about, and why it's going to be a great read for them. Those little subtle things, ping, ping, over and over again as they come to different connection points with you online, can be very, very powerful.
We only have about a minute left of this section. How can people reach you?
You can reach me at Kathy@Bublish.com, and you can bop over to Bublish.com, Bublish.com, to take a look at our site and sign up for a free trial. And everywhere on the site you can contact support if you have questions about anything. So, and we're always on, events, and we have a webinar. So lots of ways to connect with us.
And real quickly, what is Bublish?
Bublish is the world's first complete publishing platform with integrated marketing, branding, and discoverability features. So we have tools for authors to write, promote, sell, and track their success, all from one powerful dashboard.
Okay. And we will leave it at that for the moment. We'll step away to our sponsors and then come back, and we'll talk about your other segment that you're doing at Authors Marketing on July 20 through the 30th, which is how to position your book for success right from the start. We will be right back.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors, EBG 247, where you can find ebooks galore 24 hours, 7 days a week at ebg247.com. Wimberley Valley Tourism welcomes people to explore the many fine shops, restaurants, and wineries that make Wimberley special. More at wvtla.com. McKinney, Texas's quaint downtown square, rich in history, entices visitors to discover its more than 100 eclectic shops and eateries. With origins dating back to 1848, McKinney is situated just 30 miles north of Dallas and 40 miles south of the Oklahoma border. One of the country's fastest-growing cities, McKinney maintains its authentic small-town atmosphere, which is palpable when exploring the downtown streets, taking a walk on one of the city's many nature trails, or even visiting the city's Croatian-style village. Learn more about what awaits you in this picturesque North Texas city at www.visitmckinney.com or call 888-649-8499. Bourgeois Media and Consulting, a book publishing consultant where creative inspiration is realized. More at bourgeoismedia.com. Texas Authors Incorporated, in association with the Texas Authors Institute of History and Drop Everything and Read Texas Incorporated, are proud to present the third annual short story contest. Entries can be submitted between March 1st through July 31st. Winners are published in an anthology that helps raise money for the Dear Texas literacy programs, which has helped raise over $15,000 over the past 2 years. To learn more on how to enter the contest, go to ebg247.com or txshorts.com. Contest is available only to residents of Texas. You are listening to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your host for today is B. Allen Bourgeois.
And welcome back to Dear Texas Radio. This is a special edition where we're talking about the Authors Marketing Event coming up July 28th through the 30th in Houston, Texas. This is designed for authors to learn how to better market and sell themselves. And we have with us today Kathy Meis. Welcome back, Kathy.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Pleasure. Okay, your other session that you're going to be talking about at the sessions are how to position your book for success right from the start. Now, I myself, when I started writing, I had no clue that had to be marketing and stuff. This is roughly 20 years ago when I wrote my first book. The internet world really was just starting off and wasn't that much. But now, in today's world, with all the different avenues to get the word out, you really do, as an author, need to know how to market. So your particular session that you're talking about, help me understand what you mean by getting your book in the right position from the start for success. What does that really mean?
Yeah, so really the more that I have worked with authors, the more I have realized that when it comes to self-publishing your book, this is a key thing that we need to convey. I'm extremely passionate about this particular topic because if you think about it, in traditional publishing, that was really the big thing, is a house would take on a book or reject a book that they would reject a book that they liked because they couldn't position it correctly. They didn't really have the audience in place or know how to position the book in the marketplace to sell successfully. And as self-publishers, a lot of times we come from the creative side of things and it's more about the story, and then you get to your launch day and things don't go as quickly as you'd hope. You don't have as many sales. You don't really know how to find your audience. So the more I worked with authors, the more I started saying, I got to really put this together in a way that people can understand that to set yourself up for success, you really need to start by understanding everything you can about where your book belongs, where it fits, where your audience is, what their reader expectations are, everything down to, what's the normal trim size for a book in your genre? A lot of times authors will come to us and they've laid out their book in a trim size. They haven't even thought about it, or they haven't thought about the fact that their cover needs to kind of fit on the same virtual or physical bookshelf as other covers. So there's certain expectations that readers look for, a certain energy, a certain tone that would convey to them, this book belongs in this group. And so you just want to take all the friction out of the purchase for those readers. And that means you really understand everything that they're expecting. And then when they come to your product page, you got 7 seconds to tell them with your book cover, your title, your subtitle, your synopsis, your book sample that's there, that this is the type of book they are used to reading. And then what happens is, especially on Amazon, if you run ads, that those comparable titles, those comparable authors. That's part of positioning your book too. So you can inform the Amazon algorithm by running ads that bring the right kind of reader there and convert them to a purchase. And the more you do that, the more successful you will be in training the algorithm to, pop your book with the right readers. So, and that, takes a lot of homework because it's a bunch of tiny details, even the length of the book, the pace of the book. I mean, positioning really starts right within the manuscript. And, if you haven't read a ton of books in your genre, I tell readers, what are 10 books that are like yours? If you don't know 10 other books that have the same reading experience, then you need to go find those books. You need to read those books, and you need to study their product pages, their social channels, their websites, their messaging, their synopsis, their book covers, everything. It's all there for you to study. It's just with this talk, I really want to provide a system for authors to do this type of positioning study right from the start so they get it right. And back to what we were talking about before, that will inform your brand messaging. And it makes all the difference in the world, because then you really do have a fit. You have and books are products, and you have a book market fit. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And coming from the writer's perspective, it sounds like it's more now of a job that is technical versus a job that is creative.
Right, and that's the two hats you wear if you're, you're publishing a book yourself. And I would even say, too, we have unpublished a lot of traditionally published authors who, unless you're really top tier, you're probably not getting all the marketing support that you once got. The economics have just changed. So even traditionally published authors or hybrid authors really need to understand how to talk to their audience and how to position their book, even if they don't have complete control over it. But that is the big challenge, is to think of yourself as not just a writer, but as your own publisher, and take off your craft hat and put on your business hat. And when you do that, that's when you step into the shoes of the reader, and you look at your book product, either an information, nonfiction book product or an entertainment fiction book product, and you say, how does the marketplace see my book? And if it's not gelling, you just got to tweak things to make sure that it does gel. And that's really the marketing piece, is about constantly testing and trying and seeing what works and what doesn't, and fixing things until you just are there. And that's part of the self-publishing journey that I think a lot of authors don't realize until they've launched. And then they're like, this is a lot of work.
Right. And I know there's a lot of authors that just really do enjoy creating and getting books out there on a fairly fast pace. For example, we have one author that likes to get books out every 6 to 9 months. But it seems like by doing that, they're actually hurting themselves because they're not spending the time necessary to research and go through the process of making sure the book's situated in the right spot or branded properly. Is that right?
Well, it kind of depends, really. I mean, they may well. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to produce on a fairly consistently basis. The marketplace is really, pushing for that constant connection if they like content. So it's not a matter of saying, don't publish regularly, but, when they started the journey, did they do it willy-nilly, and are they having, no success, and they just keep writing hoping that will change things? Because probably not. It's a great value to have lots of well-positioned content, because content sells content. But if it's not well-positioned, it's just fragmented, and you're not going to get that kind of, collective bang for your buck that you would if you were, aligning all of it around a well-positioned brand and a well-positioned bunch of books, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So actually that brings up a question. For somebody who does have a lot of books out there, who's written for the last 20, 30 years, but really never paid attention to branding or positioning themselves, they can go back and adjust those other books to fit within a particular brand and relaunch in a certain way. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah. In fact, we've done that with authors, who their publisher went under, and, they actually didn't have a strong brand under the publisher, and then we repackaged them, repositioned them, and they started to do really well, because the content, again, each piece of content then was part of a bigger whole, and when people came across one book, they saw the relationship to the others, and it made sense, and it started to, mushroom in their sales. And additionally, this particular author that I'm thinking about too, who's in the romance category, which is getting socked right now with so much content, she's going to expand her brand very deliberately to a new subgenre within romance where she thinks she can take her readers. So when you think strategically about your positioning and your branding, you really do have the ability to create a career that grows with more and more sales as you go along.
Okay. For people who don't understand what Publish is, if you would go ahead and reiterate what that is and how it actually works a little more.
Yeah, so as I said, it's the world's first complete publishing platform with integrated marketing, branding, and discoverability features. And you can actually write your book in the cloud. While you're writing, you can share enriched branded excerpts. They're called rough cut book bubbles right from your manuscript. When you're finished writing your book, you can click a button and you've got an EPUB and you're ready to distribute. Publish is a distributor of digital and print books as well. On your dashboard, you can upload books if you'd just like to use it for marketing and start sharing book bubbles across social media. It's, again, kind of like a director's cut for books that you share. It's very author-centric, very author-branded, and they take only a few minutes to create and start to engage people, and there's calls to action that are put in there to drive people to your product page. So we have, little by little, we're building a complete publishing system. And it's really the only one that has such an emphasis on the marketing piece.
And for our listeners, if they're curious about it, they should check it out at bublish.com. And while you're there, check out our two books, Short Stories by Texas Authors, which helps Dear Texas raise funds to get books into Title I schools and other places that are in need of books but cannot afford them. We've been on there for about a year now, and we've seen some success with that. So we definitely encourage people to check it out. You might find a new book, a new author, something exciting there. I want to thank you, Kathy, again for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you at the Authors Marketing event July 28th through the 30th. If you want to sign up and attend Kathy's classes or any of the other 20-plus sessions, you can go to authors.marketing, nothing else, just authors.marketing, and sign up there. And we also are going to have pretty much all the sessions available in video format later after the event is over, so you'll be able to sign up and watch the videos and still learn if you cannot attend the event in Houston. Again, Kathy, thank you very much. Kathy Meis is from Publish, and she is presenting two different programs at the Authors Marketing event. One of them, which is really good for people who are just starting out or need to go back and change some things, is how to position your book for success right from the start, and then why your brand matters. Thank you very much, Kathy, and enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. You too.
Thank you for listening to Dear Texas Radio. To learn more about Dear Texas and its literacy programs, please visit their website at deartexas.info. I am Alex Anthony, your announcer.